I feel like the past few years we've been in a bit of a resurgence of portable gaming recently, and things with like the Nintendo Switch, the Steam Deck over the years. But I feel like retro portable gaming devices seem to be making a resurgence. Like I've seen lots of people starting to pick up 3DSs, DSs. Honestly, if you're going to get a DS, I'd say get a 3DS because it's backwards compatible. But I'm digressing from the subject at hand, and even like Game Boys and stuff. And if you know, like in the past, Nintendo have always had a fairly dominant history with portable game devices. But they weren't the only ones doing it. You had like the Atari Lynx in the early 90s, you had the Game Gear in the late 80s / early 90s. But throughout the years, Nintendo have always dominated with like the Game Boy and later on with the DS. But it wasn't until 2005 that Sony threw in their sort of hat into the portable gaming space with the PSP. And honestly, I would say it's probably the best time to get a PSP at the time of recording this, 2025. Honestly, you could probably apply this to any year now from like its like release, because it's very much a retro console now. And yeah, basically Sony marketed this as like basically having a PlayStation 2 in the palm of your hand in terms of its power. I mean, you could do other things on it like watch movies, listen to music, that sort of thing, but predominantly they marketed this as a gaming device. Something that Microsoft would not learn with their Xbox One reveal, but hey ho, that's a subject for a different video. Yeah, quite a huge success for the time. It didn't do Nintendo DS numbers, but it sold really, really well. I mean, it had GTA game that came out fairly early on it, which sold about 8 million units on the PSP, which is a lot. And I think its only downfall with this device during this period when it came out was the piracy. There was a lot of piracy as a result of the PSP because it was just so easy to hack, so easy to mod, and to this day you can do it fairly easily. And most people would say it's the best way to have a PSP. Mine's not modded, by the way, but if you want to do it, it's probably the best way to do it. The standout thing of the PSP is the media that it uses to play games, and they went with optical media, and that optical media is the UMD here. This copy of Daxter I've got has been replaced with the outer casing here, so if it looks a bit odd, if the camera will focus on it, if it looks a bit odd, it's because the outer casing's been replaced. Usually they would have like a sticker saying UMD in the middle of it. That means Universal Media Disc. It was an interesting choice to choose a sort of like CD, as it were, in a portable console that you mostly play on your travels. But ultimately, it worked. I remember back in the day when I used to go out on trips with school or car journeys with my parents, my family, that sort of thing. It would never jump in that regard. In terms of like when you hit bumps and stuff, you'd have to like really throttle this thing in order to make it jump or skip or crash, because it sits quite snugly in the tray here. It's quite a small gap, if you can see there, when you put the UMD in. So there's not really much play in that regard inside the system. And I think Sony did that on purpose so it wouldn't jump on those long journeys, say if you're like traveling by coach or you're on a car journey, a particularly bumpy area, and it works. The only downfall to this sort of media device is that the spinning of the disc can be quite loud sometimes. It sounds, I think the way my partner described it, it sounds like someone snorting snot out their nose sometimes. And now she's said that, I can't get that image out of my head, but it can be quite loud. Most of the time I don't notice. Playing Daxter recently on here, I didn't notice. Yeah, and this one I bought this year in 2025, and I know I'm kind of going over like what I've already talked about in my first introduction video I did here on YouTube, but I wanted to do a more in-depth video about a PSP and why you should get one this year. And this one I bought in March. It was like 110 quid, not discounted, it was just an unboxed one from CEX, and it just looked really, really good, considering it was, because I don't usually, well, I do order from CEX online, but in terms of hardware, I'd be a bit more hesitant about it. The only thing is that you might see if I can get the camera to focus, I can't. But there's a slight like scratch there, but besides that, this is absolutely pristine. The only problem is it's glossy and it's a dust and fingerprint magnet. Yeah, super impressed with it. I bought a fair amount of games which are behind me and I'll show you in a minute, and talk about some games in depth. Other games I'll be in passing because A, I've never really played them properly, or B, I haven't played them at all. Yeah, so let's get into some games and let's talk about them. Okay, let's talk about games. I've got two piles here. One is right next to me here and one is on my coffee table. I'll try and not knock them over when I get the other pile over specifically. But yeah, let's start with Wipeout. Wipeout is a game that's been around since the mid-90s, early 90s. Launched with the original PlayStation, I believe, the first one. But it's just such a PlayStation IP that you need, and Sony's not really doing much with. There might be a bit of a theme about Sony not doing much with their IPs with some of these games I've got. Yeah, but Wipeout, futuristic fast fighting racing game, sort of like a, not quite F-Zero, but almost sort of like a answer to Nintendo's F-Zero, which again, they're not doing anything with, but it's great, looks great, and runs really well. Up next is another franchise that Sony just don't seem to be doing anything with, and that's Siphon Filter. If you don't know, this is sort of like a spy thriller, tactical espionage sort of game, not quite like Metal Gear Solid, because this is it's more action focused. I mean, there are elements where you have to be stealthy, but it's mostly quite action orientated. This game's really good. With the PSP, it lacks a second analog stick, so doing like any sort of third or first person shooting, it takes a while to get used to because you're having to use the face buttons on the right to sort of aim your character. Certain games will compensate for that because they know that they don't have a second analog stick, so they'll have like, I don't know, generous auto aim, that sort of thing. But this game's really good, looks great, and the story's quite engaging what I've played so far. Oh look, another Sony franchise that they don't seem to be doing anything with, and that's Resistance. What they realised with this game, that first-person shooters are quite hard to do with the PSP. Not impossible, but quite difficult to work on the system. And Resistance is a third-person shooter in this regard on the PSP. Again, they realised they don't have a second analog stick, so they had to sort of finagle that by making a third-person shooter. But it has very generous auto aim. I mean, it's just literally just pop out and shoot things and you're locked onto the enemies straight away. But doesn't make it a bad game. It's quite good of what I played so far. I played it for about, I want to say 2 hours. I bought this recently for about £6. Oh, that's another thing about the PSP. Most of the games are really, really cheap. They're like below £10. I mean, there's a few outliers I've got in this pile somewhere that are like above £10. A couple of, maybe one or two of them are above £20. But most of them are below £10, below £5. I mean, recently in CEX, I walked out with 5 PSP games for like £19. This was one of them. Yeah, but a great game. I'm kind of diverting a bit. Prince of Persia, I haven't played this one yet, but as far as I can tell, it's based on Warrior Within, looking at the goth sort of emo look of the prince in the front here. Really like Warrior Within on the PS2. Haven't played it in years, but I'm looking forward to this. It's a 3D adventure platformer game. They work really well on this platform. They're in abundance too, so looking forward to playing that one. A favourite fighting franchise of mine, I bought this recently for about £18. This was one of the outliers I was talking about, and that's Mortal Kombat Unchained. This is basically a PSP, it is a PSP version of Mortal Kombat Deception. All the content's there. The only difference is that graphically it's sacrificed graphically a bit, like the frame rate is a bit dodgy in the Conquest mode, but the fighting, like the one-on-one fighting itself, still runs at 60 FPS. You've got the puzzle combat, you've got the chess combat and the arcade mode. It's all, the gory action is there, and playing through the Conquest mode is fun, although the horrendous voice acting is really funny, but that's part of the charm. It wasn't that good even at the time, but yeah, I love this game. I loved it on the PS2 and I just wanted it on the PSP because playing in bed in the morning first thing is great. First person shooter, I've played this before in the past. I got it recently, and that's Medal of Honor Heroes. Very short game, what I remember. It's about 2 hours when I looked up on how long to beat. And yeah, first person shooters, again, bit finicky when you play them on PSP, but you get used to it fairly quickly. This is a great game, quite good, quite simple for what it is, but it's really good, fun, old school Medal of Honor action, World War II, and yeah, this plays really well. As the PSP was quite renowned for like racing games, and there's a couple here. I'm going to bundle these two together because they're from the same franchise, and that's Need for Speed Carbon, Own the City, and Most Wanted 510. Sorry, I had to look at that one quickly. These are kind of like, I believe as Ryan Mystic put it on his channel recently, they're kind of like in between the franchises that they're based on, sort of like, you would describe as a sort of like Need for Speed Underground like 1.5 with both of these. They're not like their sort of PS2 counterparts, but they're still competent on their own nonetheless. They're really good. I put a lot of hours into Carbon and Most Wanted. This one kind of went up a little bit recently to a tenner, and I don't know why. I bought this for £8 back in June or July. It was July, I think, when I went to Romford in London. Yeah, great games. They're fun. Up next is another one I picked up recently, again a franchise that Sony have not done anything with, and that's Killzone. This one, again, not a first-person shooter, because Guerrilla Games realised the sort of like limitations of the PSP. They weren't sure if they could release a first-person shooter, so what they did instead is a top-down shooter. I've not played this yet, but again, from Ryan Mystic, he talked about this in his video, and I had to pick up because he said it's really good. Top-down shooter, a lot of fun in the Killzone universe, and I paid £2.50 for this. Another outlier, because this is like 10 quid and based on a film franchise that I love, and that's The Godfather. This is a pared back version of the Godfather game. On PS2 and Xbox 360, it's a massive open world game, whereas this version is a mission by mission structure where you've got a sort of strategic mob wars mini game where you have to sort of like deal deck of cards to sort of like move your mob enforcers along, that sort of thing, to take over businesses. You don't have the free roam open world in this version, but the missions are all there from the story mode, and it plays quite well. Graphically, obviously, it's not as good, but yeah, I just thought it'd be quite cool to have that one. This one is from a developer that haven't made a game in a while, and that's from what they called a London studio. I don't think if they exist anymore, but they made franchises like The Getaway, and yeah, this one's quite overlooked, and that's Gangs of London. Again, I wish Sony would do something with The Getaway, having like a GTA style game in London. But yeah, this is pretty good. I bought this for £5 in Romford in London, ironically in London, when I visited my partner's parents with her. And yeah, it's quite a simple game, but that's all you need sometimes with games, is something simple. You don't want in-depth things, especially on a portable console. And this is a fun sort of open world, this basically not completely like sandbox like Grand Theft Auto, but it's fun, sort of stereotypical really London English, like we use the Cockney slang and all that thing. Makes me laugh too, but great stuff. Everybody's Golf, it's golf. Bought this for £1. Great golf game if you're looking for a not so serious golf game, and yeah, at the time of recording this, they've released a new Everybody's Golf, and yeah, really like this game. If I want something just to kick back and relax and play, and I say relax, golf games make me angry a bit. And on the last few in this pile, and Daxter, which I talked about in the intro because it was in my PSP, spin-off to, well, Jak and Daxter. Really good. I played this for about 4 hours, really love it. Really good 3D platformer. Who knew playing a 3D platformer where you're exterminating bugs could be quite fun, but it's really fun and quite creative with the different mechanics, like with the bug spray gun you get. You can use that to get over longer ledges, that sort of thing. Yeah, really good. I'm not a huge Jak and Daxter fan. It's probably because I haven't played them enough, but I really like this game and I'm really enjoying it. First-person shooter, one I haven't played yet, but I bought recently. I got this recommendation from Metal Jesus because he talked about it, and I didn't know this game exists. It's called Coded Arms. A good first-person shooter of what he's described and what I've seen on the back and the gameplay footage he showed. Yeah, it looks really cool. I paid £2.50 for this, and it's all there. I got 2 manuals in this for some bloody reason. Thanks, CEX. If anyone wants a Coded Arms that manual, I've got a spare if you want. But yeah, it looks really solid, and yeah, looking forward to playing that one. These two I'll just bundle in the same sort of thing because they're burnout. I mean, as I said, racing games on this platform are just so ubiquitous and needed, honestly. They work so well, and these Burnout games are great, especially Dominator. If you just, again, a franchise that we haven't seen since 2008. I just wish they'd bring it back. Burnout, yeah, fantastic game, and yeah, these two are fantastic. I love Burnout. I wish it would come back. And yeah, that's the end of the first pile, and we'll get to the next one. Right, we're nearly there. On to the next and final pile. On top here was probably one of the first games I bought with my PSP, and that's Splinter Cell Essentials. Some people go on about this game saying it's quite good. I've played it a bit. It's all right. Frame rate wise, it's a bit dodgy in the intro area where I played. Oh, it's fallen out. He says as he opens the case. Yeah, it's all right, but it just feels a bit pared back. And I know you have to pare back the PSP, but this feels really pared back and quite rushed, if I'm being honest. It's not a bad game, but I feel I need to persevere with it a bit more to kind of get a better opinion about it. And anyway, more racing games. I've got quite a few racing games on this. Ridge Racer, solid version of Ridge Racer, just called Ridge Racer. That's quite a pattern on this system. There are just games called like their first game in the franchise because it's just released on this platform. Really solid game. Oh, inside cover, I didn't realise that. I do want to pick up Ridge Racer 2 on PSP, and what I played of this looks amazing, runs buttery smooth. Yeah, what can I say about racing games even more? Another game, first one I picked up with my PSP with Ridge Racer, I think it was, Ratchet and Clank, Size Matters. See what they did there? Yeah, really good. I love the Ratchet and Clank games. We recently bought, what's it called, Rift Apart for the PlayStation 5. I'm looking forward to playing that. Yeah, this is just a solid Ratchet and Clank game in vein of the PS2 games. And I don't feel like the corner's been cut in this game. Like you would think like, oh, they'd have to pare it down. But yeah, it's still full of life. It's animated beautifully. The gameplay plays really well, even the shooting, because you can customize the shooting to your liking, because as I said before, there's no second analog stick for third-person shooting, so you have to kind of get used to that. But you can kind of customize the control scheme to your liking to accommodate for the lack of analog stick. But yeah, Ratchet and Clank, Size Matters, a must-have on the PSP. Another racing game and another franchise that Sony hasn't done anything with, and that's MotorStorm, Arctic Edge to be specific. Yeah, there's lots of really cool inside covers with PSP games, by the way. Yeah, it's just MotorStorm on the PSP. I love MotorStorm. It's so over the top, it's so ridiculous, so fast and so brutal. I didn't buy this. A friend of mine gave this to me. He's got a PSP as well, but he dumps a lot of the ROMs onto his computer, so he can just play it without the disc. So he gave this to me. And yeah, I really enjoyed this game, what I played so far. Again, it's just MotorStorm. I just wish Sony would bring it back. Another racing game. Again, not from Sony's point of view, but from Rockstar Games. They haven't done anything with this franchise for a long time, Midnight Club. I've put lots of hours into this so far. I bought this in Romford when I went to visit, again, my partner's parents in London, Essex, London. Yeah, Midnight Club 3, really solid racing game. Infuriatingly hard in places. I've never sworn so much while playing a game, and this game is very hard for a racing game. I love it. I must have put about 10-15 hours into this game so far, but it's infuriatingly hard. I'm trying not to swear in this video. Lumines, they've recently announced a new Lumines recently by the creators of Tetris Effect. I remember playing this on PlayStation 3, Lumines, a Lumines game on PS3, not this one specifically. I bought this for £1. It looks like it's never been played. It looks brand new. I'm looking forward to play this. I still haven't played this yet, by the way. There's certain PSP games that I just haven't picked up and played. But yeah, Lumines. Up next, I'm going to put these two together because they're the same. They're in the same franchise, and again, a franchise that Sony hasn't done anything with for years. And I wish they released it on PS5 because it worked quite well. Loco Roco 1 and 2. These games are adorable, great adventure platformer games where you play these little locos and they are so cute. The music's great, the platform is great, runs at buttery 60 FPS. The gameplay just feels so good. I unintentionally tilt the PSP because it feels like you should tilt the PSP to make them go along, but because all you do is you use the shoulder buttons I don't know why I'm using this case when I could just use the PSP here. You use the shoulder buttons to tilt them, and if you want to jump, you press both of them at the same time. It's simple. Those are the only buttons you use throughout that gameplay experience. It's simple, but it gets quite tricky in some of the later levels, and it's just really good. Such minimalism of a control scheme, and it works really well. Another franchise that Sony just doesn't want to do with anything with anymore, Little Big Planet. This is just called Little Big Planet because, again, they did that a lot on the PSP. It's just a solid Little Big Planet game. It's basically if you put like Little Big Planet but on the PS2 visually, and yeah, it's just really good. I put a good amount of hours into this so far. It's just fantastic, and I've read online that some people say this is like the worst in the series. I don't agree with that. I don't see what's bad about it. Maybe I'm missing something, I don't know. Another staple franchise from Sony, Gran Turismo. Yeah, it's called Gran Turismo. Yeah, it's a pretty pared back Gran Turismo game. There's no career mode in this game, which is quite bizarre. Maybe it's because it was a launch title. I'll look on the back here if I can see the date of it. I can't see the date of it here. I might be going blind. No, it says 2009, so yeah, quite pared back. There's no career mode, which is baffling, because Gran Turismo has always been about the career mode. Still a solid racer, looks great, runs great. I might put all these in one because they're from the same franchise. You've got GTA Chinatown Wars, GTA Vice City Stories, and GTA Liberty City Stories. The reason why most people remember the PSP. These are all great, all of them. Chinatown Wars is horrendously underrated. I wish Rockstar would like re-release it, but they probably won't. It's like they took a mix of like 3D and top-down. It's like more isometric, so over the top and fun. These two, however, are PS2 level Grand Theft Auto games, but on the go. And that sounds rather silly to say out loud now, but you have to bear in mind from like 2005, 2006, I think this one came out. That was crazy to have like PS2 level GTA games in the palm of your hand. Liberty City Stories sold really well. This one's quite often forgotten. It's still very good. More 1980s Vice City in the palm of your hand. These are both really good. I have more memories of this one because I played it the most. This is so good, and these are absolutely essential to own on the PSP if you ever get one. Another franchise from Sony, God of War, Chains of Olympus. I had to check. I don't have Ghost of Sparta because that game's quite expensive. This one's only about £12 now. Another inside cover there, pretty cool. Yeah, it's just PS2 God of War, but on the go. This game's not particularly long either. It's about 4 hours. It took me about 4 or 5 hours to finish. It's not the hardest God of War either, because God of War games can be quite hard, but this one's quite easy. Yeah, really solid game. We're nearly done. Last few here, Driver 76. Love this game. I don't think it reviewed that well at release. It's basically if they took Driver Parallel Lines, but they shrunk it onto the PSP. You play as a main character from the main game of Parallel Lines, Ray, there. Just open world driver fun, so good. The 1970s theme, love it, because the music, the sort of cars are so cool. Great fun. I think it was only about £6 that game. Crash Tag Team Racing, I thought I'd get like a kart racer on the PSP. Yeah, it's pretty good of what I played of it, and yeah, it's Crash Tag Team Racing. I know it's not everyone's favourite in the franchise, but it's solid. And this one's a bit of a weird one, but quite a good third-person shooter. That's Chili Con Carnage. Yeah, the cover looks insane because the game is insane. For those who are in the sort of PS2 sort of loop of that era, this is a spin-off. Sort of, I'd say it's probably like just a port of Total Overdose, which was released on the PS2. It's completely over the top, completely wacky, quite stereotypical about Mexican people, so if you're offended by that sort of thing, probably don't play it. I'm not offended by things like that these days, but I understand if you are. It's quite funny. And you go, yep, this was released in the 2000s when you play it, especially with like the main character's haircut and soul patch, you're like, yep. But it's entertaining, over-the-top third-person shooter action. And finally, we're at the end. Here we are, Assassin's Creed Bloodlines. It's basically if they took the first game, shrunk it down on the PSP. I really like it of what I played so far, and I know the original Assassin's Creed's not everyone's favourite, but this game is really good. Really, really, really good. This is basically the structure of the first one, where it's kind of sort of more level by level instead of like open world. yeah, it controls like Assassin's Creed 1 on PSP, but obviously with the PSP sort of compromises of the control scheme. Looks amazing, controls well, and yeah, great game. And yeah, that's it really. All the games I've shown you, talking about the PSP, it's just a solid system to have, to be honest. I mean, if you're into portable gaming in like right now and you want to go back and experience some of it, I do recommend getting one of these. Just be cautious about what the condition of it is, and also that's what I forgot to mention in the intro, is that check the batteries. For the love of God, check the batteries, because the older batteries, they are known for swelling and they will explode. So if you see a PSP, say, I don't know, at a yard sale, boot sale, or in a second-hand shop, and you see the plastic covering here kind of like sort of protruding, that's a bad sign. That means the battery is swelling. You can buy them online on Amazon for quite cheap, and they're quite reliable, what I've seen. But just make sure when you buy one anyway, just make sure the battery is safe to use, because it's a health hazard otherwise, because they're known for swelling up. And yeah, that's the only sort of caveat I should say when you're buying these things, because you can only buy them secondhand. Yeah, just a great system. Highly recommend the PSP. Again, this isn't a gaming budget video, but if you're gaming on a budget portably, yeah, great device to have. The initial price of buying it can be expensive. I mean, I got mine for 110 quid, but when you start going off the beaten path, like with different colors, that sort of thing, then it gets a bit more pricey. Just get a black one like this. It's just great. It looks slick. It is prone to sort of like dust and fingerprints, but easily wipeable with like alcohol cloths, that sort of thing, or microfiber cloths. It's easy to clean, is what I'm saying. Yeah, so yeah, that's the PSP. That's the reason why you should get it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.